And I believe we are live. Hello, happy International Women's Day. I am tuning in today really just to have a celebration and to come and have a conversation, making space for us as women to come together, to gather, and just have a space to really honor our womanhood and celebrate this day and celebrate each other. And I was just really feeling that vibe this morning. I was a little earlier, spent some time in my home gym. I really just felt like I needed, I was doing kind of one of my routine kind of workouts that I do, but really just feeling that need to move my body and have that space for myself. And it was feeling so good. And during that time, I just got the idea and felt the nudge to come in and say, I wanted to come in and celebrate, and again, just give that space for us to honor ourselves today. So I'm so happy to be tuning in today and here with you. As you can see, I have such fun balloons here. I actually had these from celebrating with a client earlier this week. She's had so many transformations, but such a, over the course of our work together, but we were really celebrating as she was kind of graduating and moving on to really do some things. She had really gotten, what she came in for, more than what she came in for our work together. And so we had a really wonderful celebration as we closed out some of the current work that we were doing. And so I had these beautiful balloons. So much fun we had from her. And so I just thought I'll just leave them here so we can keep the celebration going. And you guys can also enjoy. So my fave might be that unicorn. But anyways, so I want to just kind of start with maybe sharing a little bit of celebrations that I've had, just beautiful things that were happening for me today, because I think really a lot of us women, myself, I know a lot of the women that I work with, uh, you know, we're very focused on, being really driven, going for our dreams. We can easily get stuck in our mind, and even sometimes so zoomed in some of the things that we're doing, we forget to bring in the play and the enjoyment in that process. And right, whether it feels like you're at a place that you're even feeling like a little burnt out, or um, you know feeling a little bit of like, getting in your head and all of that. Or maybe you've actually, right, you've done a lot of work on yourself, and you are at a place that you are finding a lot of joy in what you're doing. You have started to be able to relax a little bit more into your body. But right, that drive and that excitement, sometimes we can get so zoomed into what we're doing. We forget to kind of take that space. And I think really that, at least in my journey and what I often am teaching and seeing with women, is really getting into that dance. It is a dance. And that's one of the things that I was doing this morning, in that time in my gym. Also, between the structured workout and some of the things that I want, that I know that I want to get in for my body, dance is also one of those. So being okay, sometimes having a little extra space, especially here on Sunday, to just flow with that, right? So as I moved through that, I always have music going that always hypes me up and gets me in a good vibe. And so just even to take moments between, that structure and, have a little dance, and that's also where a lot of my ideas and a lot of things come in for me, where I get just that clarity, right? And so a lot of that was streaming through, and I trust that some of that can come through as we're talking, and we're having this conversation today. I would love for anybody who's tuning in live, pop, say hi in the chat. I would love to hear from you. And if you're catching the replay, just enjoy this celebration. But so where I was going with that was just being able to have space for the things that bring us joy, the things that really light us up. And for those of us who, right, they're even within the work that we're doing, that is something that we're super interested in, something we value, especially for a lot of, you guys that are also in other healing spaces. Some of you are health practitioners, coaches, different, but a lot of you who are going to be attracted to my work are, you have an impact that you want to make, and you often are doing that working with other people and helping them through their journey, or teaching whatever skill it is that you have. And so even if you do feel which you probably do, you're very passionate about your work and so forth, making sure to bring in that play aspect to it. And that's something that I'm definitely practicing more, and wanted to come in and just really be able to integrate both of those, because as a therapist for the last 10 years, as somebody, again, who's been super driven and kind of really focused, also a lot of my work is really kind of with that depth, which I wouldn't have it any other way. But what I noticed is sometimes we can forget to bring in that other aspect. And so just being able to integrate and, just showing all those parts of ourselves, because as women, we have a lot of sides to ourselves, a lot of things that we want to express. And sometimes, with whether it's the things that are going on internally and overthinking, but also the pressures and the things that can come from, putting ourselves out there, who we're trying to be in the world, that really gets dampered, right? And even, right, there's so many things that are happening, right? Just forget it. Like, we've got to light ourselves up, and we've got to be able to enjoy as we're working on, our towards our goals, or right. And part of that process of coming out of a place, if we've been really kind of that over functioning, overworking, we've been prone to burnout, even just coming into ourselves is really getting, tapping into that feminine essence of ours. And that even in of itself is a wide spectrum. So it's the fun, the pleasure, the play. And then also, right, as we are opening that up, and even again, coming more into our body, some of those other feminine essences, our essence, can come more online and just become a little bit like more accessible to us, right? That's even where our internal knowing, our intuition, our depth, and being able to share the wisdom that we have, that all amplifies also the more that we are able to come into the the free spirited, the fun parts of ourself, right? And that's also really how people can really feel our energy and see us, right? And so I work with, I've had my own journey of being really just coming into the things that I really value and what I care about. And I see this for a lot of the women that I work with too, in that you have this depth to yourself. And so you care about having really meaningful conversations. You really are wanting that deeper connection in your relationships. And right? You're not really into necessarily maybe small talk or kind of keeping things superficial. You really like to go deep, and that's how a lot of us even got into some of the our work and the settings that we're in, is that we really are we crave that and we thrive on that. While I know, at least coming from my background, sometimes that can feel heavy. And not just even in my background in mental and behavioral health, but anytime that we are really kind of being called to the next level of growth, right? And so we're wanting to expand the work that we're doing, or wanting to move into something different. Uh, Right. And there's a lot of things that can come up with that process. And so if we're feeling more constrained in the current setting that we are in, maybe we're wanting to move into something that feels a little bit, that brings more freedom, that maybe even allows us to have a greater impact or feels more supportive to ourself. But we haven't yet made some of those. We're not fully stepped into that, or we haven't changed the setting, we can notice that we start feeling, really constrained in that. And if that's just coming on, or if that's something that maybe you've been wrestling around with for a while, you will notice our energy becomes even more depleted, or it starts to really feel heavy. And so that's where really even just being able to tune in today and give this space for celebration, bringing in more of that fun and play, and see how your energy changes, and how you feel and move within that changes. And that's what we want to bring into um, our day. We want to bring that into our lives. And certainly then we want to be able to integrate that into our work that we're doing. And that is really what really that becoming of this radiant woman is really all about. I have laid out in my 5D roadmap, I have this is really about how to rise in radiance. And so I have different states laid out. There's 5 different states, and one of those is actually right in the middle, is this radiant woman. And this is the transition from going from a place that feels very much in our mental, our mind. We're very much in that, just kind of that ongoing thinking, our maybe we've been burnt out, all of that, but we're transitioning into this place that we recognize life can be here to really support us. Our work and relationships can be supportive of us. And that really starts from cultivating that within. And so that's really part of that transition into becoming your version of the radiant woman, is being able to come more into our body, being able to come more into our essence that just lets us shine, lets us show a little bit more of ourselves that maybe we have, for a lot of us women, for all women, really, we've had to, there's different means of doing this, but right, we've put on a mask, we've performed, we've kind of suppressed or pushed that down in having to be a certain way, especially, as professional women in business. And, we're realizing, a lot of us, and it's really beautiful to experience in my own life and to see with other women, that we're bringing more of that out, because we all are needing that, and we all really are wanting that. And so that's what we are, that's what I'm all about, that's what we're here doing. And that's, one part of that transition. If you have been in that space where things are just feeling more heavy, dry, they're, in that space. And so if you would, I am, let's see, what else do I want to share? So that, just mentioning a little part of the 5D roadmap that I teach on, it helps us really understand and gives us a progression of where we are at now, and how we really, with that conscious development, how we can be changing to move through really all of these stages, or to help us feel more attuned with ourselves, really be able to enjoy our life and feeling fulfilled and becoming more of who we really are, right? So that's really a lot of that unlayering and taking off the things that really are not in tune with us, that really aren't serving us anymore. And as we have, I know a lot of you have, either you've done some inner work, you've maybe been to therapy, you may have moved on from that. You may have even, in the spiritual aspect, you've done some of that work. And now we're at a place where, you've recognized the places and how we protect ourselves, really, because all of these things are a protection, for our survival. And, that is very much even within our relationships, right? We want to belong. We want to have a place where we can really show up as ourselves. And so part of that process, right, as we're unlayering those layers of protection, that's how more of us can blossom out and come out. And so it's just, I'm excited, just really proud of myself and grateful to be here, being able to bring this to more women, because I know how valuable this work is, and how, how many people, how many of us really need it. And so, we're just here celebrating Happy International Women's Day. And let's move into maybe sharing some more celebrations. And any of you who are here with us, you can feel free to say hi in the chat. If there's something that you want to celebrate for yourself today, definitely, I would love to see that and celebrate with you. So you can definitely put that in the chat as well. And so, as I mentioned earlier this morning, I was, spending some time in my home gym doing, my physical workout and just having that space for myself. And, that's not something new to me. That's something that's been a part of my life. I've always been a very athletic person, but really, after I had a period of time that was challenging and really had stepped away from some of that, I'd come back into that. And there's been, at least for over a couple of years, this has been something very consistent for me, and is an avenue for me to not only take care of my body physically and mentally, but really all the ways, right? Emotionally, that's really a space for me. And just had a moment where I felt like I really wanted to celebrate that even more, and just being proud and, again, grateful for showing up for myself and seeing the changes in myself, the transformation by doing that, right? And that's just one of the ways that, I take care of myself, that I really am tuning into my body as being in a female body, and just the importance of that. And so, as I was taking that in, right, then another celebration was like, I opened up. I always use Spotify to have my have my jams on while I'm there, and a new playlist just was right there. I didn't have to go searching for it, didn't have to do anything, just popped it up, clicked on it, and it was actually like exactly what I was looking for. It was just very uplifting, and really just continuing getting me in those vibes. And so just these small things that really we can be just recognize and notice and be grateful for, right? And just another way how life can support us, and how we recognize that that's supportive of us. And what I will say is, when I was in that phase of what I really call the activated achiever, that is the one of the states that, like I said, this is a progression. And so before coming into being more of that radiant revolutionary woman, she is very stuck in her mind. She is in a place where she is overthinking and maybe even have difficulty with decisions. She's feeling that she needs to perform to show up. And right, it's all about her productivity. So is, resting or doing things that don't feel productive for her. She experiences guilt, and she just feels like she's always on, right? And so when you do some of that internal work and really step into that next identity, and this is through conscious development, and this is something that I teach in all of my spaces, but in the Radiant Body Renew, that's what I've got going on right now. That is part of this progression, right? So as you're able to step into that, you are able to relax more into your body. You're able to recognize when your mind is on overdrive or when it's showing up in a way that is preventing you from coming into your body, to being able to relax and rest, and even showing up doing the things that are what you would say would be productive. So for those of you who would be in that state that I just described, being that achiever, you probably have some things that you would classify as what's productive and what's not. But really being able to step into a place that even when you're doing those things, you're able to bring some of that flow in. It's becoming more natural, and it feels a lot better, right? And so, at the same time, then you're also, of course, we're having times of rest. But one of the biggest differences within those states and making that progression is, like I said, it's either this on or off. And so when you are resting from that achiever state, it really is coming from a place of like, it's like that vegging out, or just like, it's because you've gone so much and just kept going until it's like you literally have to drop. And it's more of that vegging out, and it's not really a lot of times even true rest. And so coming into becoming this radiant woman, there is a difference there. So you're able to recognize, right? I could be laying on the couch, and if I'm like spinning in my mind, I'm not actually resting, right? Where right now, like I'm having a lot of fun, and this feels more like flow and just allowing what wants to come through. Even though technically this would be something that is productive, that would be considered a work, or something like that. And so it's really this integration, right? And then I'm able to have times where I really am just resting, and maybe that is taking a break, laying down. There's some different rituals that I have of ways to care for myself. That's something I go into in the Radiant Body Renew program, of just these different aspects, because we need something besides just being on and off. And even as you are giving yourself space to, a lot of you, right, you're showing up and doing your workouts, you're showing up and for your fitness, where that's even a transition of that becoming with more ease. And again, having some flow within that, having just really knowing that what I'm doing is right for me, versus when you're in that achiever state that I mentioned, it feels more rigid, right? And it's something, right? It's not trusting yourself as much. And so it feels like it has to be very rigid to make sure that it stays consistent, or to believe that you are doing everything you need to be doing. And really, from this place of being the radiant woman, you know that, and you have a commitment and a trust with yourself. So you know that you're going to show up and do those things, but it's very much able to flow with your rhythm. And this is, there's absolutely, the accountability is there, because that's something I think that when you're in that other state, you can get stuck in, of either being like overly rigid to be accountable, or right, you're not doing it at all. And this is something where that comes with more ease. So you know that you're going to do those things, but you're able to have fun while you do it and trust that it's not going to look exactly the same every single day. And that's okay, because that's also part of knowing, like, as a woman, we do have natural flows. And so we need to be able to have some structure that holds us, while the space to be able to flow through it. Right. And so um, these are just some of the things that I really practice and embody myself. I really teach other women to start implementing and owning in their own life. And I think that calls for some celebration, right? Um, yeah. So, other things, right? So, I enjoyed that space this morning so much. And another celebration for me today is being able to spend a little time with my husband and in our kitchen. And um, we both enjoy cooking at different times, but a lot of times, especially on the weekends, loves to. Oh, hello, Kristen. Happy International Women's Day. I'm so glad that you're here tuning in. I've been talking for a while. I might need a drink. I would love to know anything that you want to celebrate for yourself today, Kristen, and anybody else that's tuning in. But yeah, I was just saying, being able to enjoy a such a delicious breakfast this morning. He had actually eaten a little earlier, since he was doing he had gotten up earlier. I was doing my workout when he was doing that. So then a little later, he still offered to make me a little breakfast burrito. It was so yummy, and I got to sit there and really enjoy that. And then, we even had some time. He was sharing some of what he's working on and doing, and just me giving that space for him to share that with me. It was, just being that sounding board and helping him as he's learning new skills in what he's doing. And just a time, right? That was space for me to be able to connect and just see him and what he's doing. And I felt that to be very reciprocal. And, what, just, a space for him of what he was needing. And so that was really enjoyable. And then I knew that I wanted to come on. So I spent a little time getting myself feeling really good, and then coming in here with you guys today. And yeah, Kristen says, just celebrating those of us who are lighting the torch for others. Yes, sister, I feel that. And right, we have done a lot of work on ourselves. We've done a lot of our own unlayering, our own moving into our own becoming, and being able to now, right, give that and show, just show up more for other women who need us, and other people, depending on who you work with, to be a light and be a source of wisdom, and just sharing that. And one of the things that I'm really loving so much, and really one of the reasons I knew when I started This Radiant Woman and wanted to move into more coaching and mentorship, that one, I knew I wanted to make a greater impact for others. I also knew that I wanted more flexibility and freedom in how I wanted to do that. And I did a lot of different things in my therapy practice to make that also, right, liberating for me, expansive for my clients. And that was it's been so beautiful as well. But I knew stepping into this that I wanted to just be able to work in a little bit of a different way. And really, because I'm somebody who I've studied a lot of different things. And so my focus has always been within personal self-mastery, but right, there's a lot of little components that go into that. So I'm combining more and more of that. in the frameworks that I teach and that I use to guide people. And but the biggest thing with that was being able to show more of me and to be able to be in a space that we want to, um, again, just like what Kristen was saying, show our light and right, liberate other women, because there are so many spaces that we have that we're not bringing that into, or we feel like we can't. And we need to be able to bring that into more spaces, but we also need, often some of that for ourselves. We need a space to allow ourselves to blossom, for that to really bloom. And that's really what I am creating, and really calling in other women who want that into my spaces. And so, right, this is also reciprocal work, because as I change and transform other people's lives, like, it's transforming my own. And it's really just exciting to be able to add in more of myself, right? Being very much a space holder and, right, being a therapist for the last decade, a lot of that is, there's that deep listening, there's that space that you're holding. And I've always been somebody, right? I do a lot of that psychoeducation, a lot of that, in my therapy practice as well. I'm very growth oriented and I've always brought that into my work. Um, while there's still a deeper component where, as therapists, we don't, aren't sharing a lot about our lives, or we're not sharing a lot of our own journey. And sometimes we're sprinkling that in. But there's a time and space for that. And so with what I'm doing in coaching and mentorship, it's like braiding the two. And so I'm really being able to add more of myself, adding my own personal stories, and then I can bring in client stories as well to help, just help us see the progression and see what that, so then you can maybe envision that for yourself and see what that's going to be like for you. And that's something even within the, my 5D roadmap. I shared I touched on a couple of those, from being that activated achiever and moving into becoming the radiant revolutionary woman. The framework is really 5 states that we can be in. And so being able to see that, you can really see where you're at. And then that helps guide what we need to do, what work and what, skill set we need to build, what things we need to practice, which is going to help us continually develop and evolve into the woman that we're wanting to become, the woman who we are becoming, and really then moving towards those things that we want in our life. And so, yeah, that's what it is all about. That's what I'm excited about. And, yeah, I just am loving being here with you guys today. And really, Kristen, I appreciate you too for the work that you're doing, being a light, for those that you serve, and bringing your expertise, right? Because you have a lot of expertise, bridging really kind of science and spirituality, bridging those together. And that's something I really respect and love about the work that you do. And yeah, so anybody else that's here, if you want to say hi, I would love to say hi to you. If you want to share any other celebrations, let me just feel into what else I might want to share with you today. It has been beautiful here. I am located in Kentucky, and it has really, I feel like spring has sprung, and we've had some nice breeze and just really enjoying space, to be in nature. We have a lot of birds here, so there's always birds chirping. It's literally so nice. I was able to open my window and just really soaking that in. And so sometimes it's just these, it's the small things that are actually the big things. And again, when we've been in that place of just so much noise, just constant productivity, we miss just the simple beauties of life that really is what fulfills us. So, oh, hello, Angelina. She says, "Hey, it's raining in Georgia." Yeah, it's pretty overcast. We're not having sunshine like we did yesterday, but it's just been such beautiful weather, and so I have been soaking that up. I actually had a really nice, what was this, Friday. Um, just had the nudge to go out into the little town that I live in and really had a beautiful experience. Before I tell you that story, let me see what you guys are saying. Celebrating women that maintain a growth mindset and spirit. Yes. Yes. Thank you, sisters, for tuning in today. And yes, I agree. That's just such a high value of mine. And I know for those of you who are chatting with me here, it is for you too. And Kristen says, I appreciate you as well. Seeing the next step for women and knowing the importance of expansion. Yes. And I think the more of us that are modeling that allows other women to see that for themselves and even to try that on, to practice that, and ultimately to really embody that more and more in their life. Walked the trail. Yes. Love nature so much. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, on Friday, I had a beautiful experience. I didn't really know. My intention was to follow, the prompt to get out and just to kind of explore and see where that took me. And so I followed that and ended up in this cutesy little space in the town that I live in, a space I've been to before, but I ended up being in two new places I've never visited. And, really just soaking up the artwork and the talent. There's a lot of artistry and shops that showcase local talent in my area, and so I went into a space and was taking that in, and then ended up over at a bookstore and ended up just I enjoyed myself so much just looking through some different books, having things pop out at me, just different messages or different things, just showing, as a space of being very in tune, and enjoyed that. And I ended up having a beautiful conversation with the owner and one of her friends that was there, and got a couple of new contacts. So found out about a women's business group that I didn't know about, and also about a woman who holds women's gatherings, which is something I'm very into. That's something that, essentially is incorporated into my space, being a leader and a space holder for other women. And so I definitely am going to be connecting with her. And that's another thing of when I say like life is supporting you. And that's something that really shows up within the identity of the radiant woman, is she's flowing more and she's recognizing that things can come to her without that hustle and grind and just pushing and forcing things to happen. And, as we go through these progressions, we're also integrating these things. So the part that the activated achiever brings in is that she knows how to get things done, right? And she's very driven. She's taking actions. And so we're bringing her with us, but it's more in an integrated fashion. And so, becoming this radiant woman, we're able to flow more because we're in our body more. We're not operating as much from that survival state, but we recognize that we're also supported. So as we take actions, things can come to us with less effort, right? It's moving from that pushing and grinding or kind of controlling the outcome to getting really clear on what it is, our intentions for life, but then we are flowing within that. So we're taking actions and then we're seeing things come back to us. And that's just a little glimpse of what, one of the things that I go into in the frameworks that I use and will be incorporated in the Radiant Body Renew program, which is starting later this month. I've got the link in the description if you do want to check out a little bit more about what that's about. But it is really, right. It's called Radiant Body Renew for a reason, and that it's really that whole woman coming into her true beauty, which involves, not just, what sometimes we think of what beauty means like externally. It's from the inside out. And so this offering is going to give us the tools to be the whole woman. And so really tend to ourselves as the whole woman. So again, we have lots of different parts of ourself. And so it's being able to show up for all of those. And so, there's different ways of doing that. I think I mentioned earlier that I've got some radiance rituals that I practice that can get us feeling into that really yummy, juicy energy. But this is also right. Maybe if you're wanting to get more fit, you're wanting to feel alive in your life and you're wanting to do it without, again, that hustle and grind. So really being able to be regulated, really, deepen into how we tend to our nervous system and even knowing more about how that works. I know a lot of you are familiar and do that type of work, but this is right. So we're getting all of those pieces, but we're doing it really in a way that lights us up. And again, just lets us be more in our full essence as a woman. And that's what we're here celebrating today for International Women's Day. I am so grateful for the women in my life. So, so grateful. Yeah. I grew up with a lot of women. There was a lot of my mom. I've got two sisters, lots of female cousins. More women as my family became a blended family, more sisters. So just really have always been surrounded by women and, and strong men. Right. And so I'm grateful for that while, right, it's also been a journey. So I have lots to be grateful for. And there's a whole lot of things that I've worked through to recognize that and have that view. And I know a lot of you have done a lot of your own work and maybe still are really in that progression to be able to take it to the next level, to be able to, and I say that not just in a way, again, of the performance or success, like what success actually means is a full-bodied approach from my perspective. And so being able to enjoy our life and recognize the goodness that's around us and cultivate more of that in our lives is really valuable to me. And I think it makes a difference for our own lives and the people that are in it, right? And so as women, we have our relationships, we're in our marriages, or we have children, we have other teams or people in our work that we're leading, that we are influencing. And so if we are coming from a place of sacrificing ourselves or not tending to that in order to give to others, right, we're not really able to show up and give everything that we could. We're not able to have as much of a ripple effect on other people. And if I know about women, like, we care about those things. We care about making an impact. We care about contributing something positive to humanity, to our communities. And we are recognizing now, right, what a beautiful time for us to be alive and to be in this, is that we are recognizing more and more of us of like, it's not about self-sacrifice and or doing that from an empty cup. And honestly, we can be grateful because the prior generations, right, that's been harder to do. And, our mothers, our grandmothers, so forth, they sometimes, like many of them didn't necessarily have that opportunity, or maybe they're coming more into that now. And the more that we are doing this work, the more it allows them to do that for themselves as well as for our future generations. And so that's very much a part of why I care so much about growth and expansion, is for our longevity and for the legacy that we are building and leaving for future generations. So that is what I've got. We'll see if anything else wants to come through for now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and coming to celebrate International Women's Day. I'm just excited to have the space to honor ourselves and just our rising, and doing that with our radiance. So anything else anybody wants to share? Let's see if anything else wants to come through. If anybody has any questions more about the work that I do, I would invite you to, you can leave me a message. You can certainly connect with me. I'm happy to answer any questions or just share more of that. I'm going to be coming on live more often, as well as continuing to create content to just share a little bit more about the work that I do, but really just being able to bring you guys valuable tools and shifts that you can make in your lives. So I'm excited to be continuing that. And then I do have the link in the description if anybody does want to check out my Radiant Body Renew program. I will speak more on that, later as we go. But today, just really wanted to come in and celebrate all the beautiful women and all of the women who are really in a place of still struggling or finding their way. And right, we all are, and we're all at different places of that journey. And so, I'm here to really uplift and support those of you who are really wanting to step into that deeper for yourself and really know that you have a mission in your life and are wanting to build impact, and you want to do that from a place of feeling good inside, right? And so if you are working, it's really that full-bodied approach. And so you might be working more into your health. That's a lot of what the Radiant Body Renew is all about, is really that showing up for ourselves, for our wellness. But it's also right about how that can improve your relationships, how that can improve how you show up in your work that you're doing, the impact that you're building. And likely, if you are enjoying what I am bringing here, you do have a big impact that you want to make, and you also, you're not wanting to sacrifice all the areas of your life to do that. And so that's what we are doing in my current program in all the spaces, and that's what I'm going to be here showing up more here on YouTube to help you embrace, and also just walk alongside with those of you who are on that path as well. So thank you guys so much. I think I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go and go enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, celebrating myself and all the women that I get to work with, and all the beautiful women that are in our world. And for those women who maybe have not, are not on this path or journey yet, or maybe they really are struggling or are in a less fortunate situation, or whatever it might be, we're celebrating them too, and knowing that we all start wherever we're at, and there's always space for your own becoming and your own growth, and changing the trajectory of your life if it's something that you're wanting to change. And for most of the people that I work with, right, you realize you do have a good life. You are wanting to be able to enjoy it more, and you're also wanting to deepen into that and go into the next phases of your growth and your own expansion. So whatever that might be, I'm celebrating you so much today, and thank you so much for tuning in. And I look forward to doing this again the next time. So bye.